Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at FIJ 2020. I'm sitting down with Nicholas Lyons from Don't Panic Games, and you've brought us Cowboy Bebop, Space Serenade, an IP
right.
I think a lot of people would be very excited about.
That's right. Well, it's an IP that's pretty famous in France, but I think it's pretty famous in the States as well.
I think so.
So it's one of our favorite anime from the classic era. And it's also part of our company DNA, so to speak, to sort of do games based around the animes that we like. So for this one, we went the route of basically it's a deck building game. So
before you start, we're just gonna take a nice shot
of
the minis.
Absolutely.
Because these come pre-painted, correct?
No, they don't.
Okay,
No, they
yours are awesome.
Yes. Well,
they're still awesome minis.
One of our guys painted a bunch of them for Ken.
But because I imagine we're going to move them around in a moment.
Yes.
But we wanted to line them all up here in front of the camera so everyone can appreciate the cool character minis we've got going on. And now, what are we going to do in the game?
Okay, so basically the game is a deck building game. So you're going to start with a hand of cards that are, like most deck building games, is not very good cards, and you're going to want
not very big deck.
Not a small deck, and they're not very good, and you're going to want to get rid of the ones that are not so good, so you can buy ones that are better, and so improve your deck over the game and get more and more oomph out of your deck as you play. In the game, there's different types of resources that you get. On each turn, you'll basically play 5 cards. Which will give you different types of resources. Mostly the wulongs are the coins that will let you buy better cards, like these, for instance. I don't know if you can do in there as well. So these will have a price, and you can use the wulong to buy better cards to add to your deck. Then some other cards will have fight points, or investigation points, and I'll come to that later. This is how you will arrest the criminals. I should go back, because the players are the crew of the Bebop, which is a spaceship in the late 21st, early 22nd century. Humanity has spread to the stars, but law and order has not followed through, and so there's criminals everywhere on all the planets. Law and order has fallen down the drain, and governments are relying on bounty hunters to capture the criminals.
And we're quite the motley bunch of bounty hunters.
We sort of get along, but it depends on the moments. Sometimes we get along better than other times, which is why it's a semi-cooperative game, but not quite. Like, one of them will come out on top ahead of the other players, so one of them will have more points at the end. So the goal of the game is to go from planet to planet and arrest criminals who will have a certain number of tokens on them, for instance, like this. And we'll have a certain number of tokens, and in order to arrest the criminals, you're going to either use fight or investigate to remove the tokens, and you get those from the cards.
Bash your way in,
or try to
negotiate
talk your way through it. It's usually cheaper to fight, but the thing is that if you fight and get tokens this way from fighting, then you'll have to take wound cards, which will come and sort of spoil your deck and make your hand.
Clog up your hands.
Right. The idea is that as soon as somebody takes the last token from one side or the other, then they'll take the card. This card has 0 points, but other cards will have higher bonuses to get extra bonuses.
Right, because these are sort of our starting frame.
Exactly, those are the starting cards. But then if you participated in the fight and you have some tokens on your board and did not get the last cards, you'll still get points for the tokens that you captured, and those will translate into victory points at the end. And so it's okay to participate in a fight, and even though somebody else captures the criminals, you participating sort of gets you points.
Rewarded for partial participation.
Exactly. The last type of resource that you have in the game is fuel, which mostly, since the characters start on the Bebop, and in order to arrest the criminals, they'll have to go to a planet in order to arrest them. So you're going to use fuel points, which is the only resource that you can
Right.
store.
So, which is on these cool dual layer boards. The
Exactly.
planets are also dual layer, but so yeah, this cube's got nice little notches to sit in here. So each character only has a certain amount of fuel.
Right, you start with one fuel, but it's the only resource that you can stock up from one turn to the next, from one round to the next. All the other resources, if you don't spend them that round, they'll be wasted. Whereas fuel you can stock up because it's used for a lot of things. First, to move from the Bebop to another planet, or from a planet to another planet, but also to use the character's special abilities.
Which is unique for each character as well. I'm
Exactly.
going to pull Spike back here up to the middle.
Each character has two special abilities, a main one and a secondary one. And the thing is that if you're on the same planet as another character, or if you're on the Bebop together, you can also use the first skill of the other characters.
Because we are a team.
We are a team. What's a funny twist, though, is that you can actually use some cards to force other players to come where you are and trick them into letting you use their abilities. Because we're a team, but it depends when.
Occasionally reluctant team.
So as you go capturing criminals, there's another deck.
Which I was just going to say, I'm actually just going to put this up between us because we've got this cool stand for
Right,
our
and I should normally
criminals.
they're back no, but they're
it's a
it's
secret.
no they're like this. Sorry, it's my bad.
Ah, there we go.
Well, you don't know what they are when you run, and when you capture a criminal, you're going to pick more criminals from the
Right.
deck in order to replace the ones that are missing on the planet. This will also cause. As if you pick a criminal and the planet is already occupied, it will raise the alert level of the planet, and so it'll make it harder for you to go to that planet and spend more fuel to go to that planet. In the end, all the characters, because if the alert level goes too high, then the character can escape, and so the criminal can escape, and the criminals that escape will be used later on for the final phase of the game, because in the story of Cowboy Bebop, Spike, who's one of the main characters, he's the cute guy, and he's sort of the hero, and he used to have a tragic love story because it's tragic, so it's no longer with a girl. And there was another guy involved whose name is Vicious, who is sworn enemy to Spike because he killed his girl. Tragic story, and Vicious is in the game, and he's hiding in the deck of criminal cards towards the end of the deck. And when he comes out, it'll signal the beginning of the end of the game.
And there's your game and trigger.
Exactly, because he'll move from planet to planet using the cards that the criminals that escape will be his movement deck to determine which planet he's on, and so the players will have to chase after him to capture as many tokens as they can from his card, and maybe capture him. And in this case, everybody wins, but somebody will win more than the others.
Right, because you said tokens are going to translate to victory points.
So you'll have your own points. So we won as a team, but I won more than you did. Or he'll escape, and then you can blame the others who had less points because one of them. Exactly. So one of them will lose a little less than the others, and that's basically the game.
How long do you think a full game would take?
A full game takes a little under an hour and a half. I'd say 80 minutes, somewhere
And
around
there is a solo play for this as well?
There's a solo version, or normally it goes from 1 to 4. So it goes from 1 to 4 players.
All right. Well, if you guys want to check that out, I know you guys have released this in multiple languages already.
We have it in French and English at the moment. There's a distributor in the U.S. More languages might be coming soon, and it's available. It was released in France 2 weeks ago.
So, and then coming soon for
and I
English.
think it's probably about the same time in the U.S.
Yeah,
It might be available already in the U.S.
All right, there you go. So you guys can go check out Cowboy Bebop Space Serenade right now from Don't Panic Games. And Nicholas, thank you again.
Thank you very much.